Hi guys, welcome back to GlassArrow reviews. Today, after the long awaited, I'm going to review Play as Kai Final Fantasy Dissidia Lightning. Lightning is probably one of the most Play as Kai have been made for her. She got the Final Fantasy 13 version, 13.2 version, Lightning Return, and also here is the Dissidia. If you are an avid Play as Kai collector, you may know that Lightning is very highly sought after, especially for the Lightning Return version. This one, the price has gone crazy with this one. At first, when she is out, she is like only around $80, $80 to $100. But like right now, as of right now, she has gone up to like somehow in the eBay like $300. That is very astonishing. So now, how will the new figures compare to the older one? Let's take a look at the box first. She comes in a pretty slim box, the same design as the other Play as Kai Dissidia that have already been released. This is Squall from Final Fantasy VIII. Both are from the Dissidia version, so they are on the same design with a very small black fog and the character in the front. In the back, you can see she is depicted with her with quite a style. Okay, and here is Squall. Okay, so the same. And the next one has already been announced for Final Fantasy Dissidia is Terra from Final Fantasy VI. So I'm hopeful with this line that they're going to continue furthermore with each characters, especially as of right now that they have just announced the release of the Final Fantasy Dissidia on PlayStation 4 is soon. Okay, here is a peek inside. Alright, you can see that they have already given you two weapons. Both are the same but in a different type. One is a in the gun version and another when it transforms into a normal saber version. Okay, now let's take a look inside. Okay, here she is, Lightning from Final Fantasy Dissidia out of the box. At first glance, the cloth she is wearing refer from the Final Fantasy 13 version, so it will be different from the Lightning Return version. From my perspective, I think that she is a little bit too chubby, both in the face and also her overall model looks a little bit short compared to other of her version. I'll compare her later so you can see the difference between each versions. As of note, she is on the different scale than other version of her. The Final Fantasy Dissidia characters from Play as Kai line is a little bit shorter than other normal Final Fantasy Play as Kai figures, and the other version of Lightning is on a very different scale. So now let's take her out of the stand and let's see how she measure up. Okay, so she stands roughly around 23 to 24 centimeters. So you can see that she is a little bit short compared to other Play as Kai. For example, from the Marvel variants, they are around 26 to 27 centimeters, except Wolverine, which he is pretty short. But when comparing to another Final Fantasy Dissidia figures, this is Squall from the Final Fantasy VIII. You see that Squall is a little bit taller, same as in the game, so she will fit quite nicely with the Dissidia line. Okay, and how she is comparing with the other Final Fantasy figures, Arania Hyven from Final Fantasy 15 and Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy 7 Remake. As I have told you before, she is on a different scale than the other two. Other newer Play as Kai Final Fantasy are a little bit taller than the Dissidia line, so both Lightning and Squall is a little bit shorter, around 2 centimeters shorter than they would be in another Final Fantasy Play as Kai line. So this is a very thing you should know before buying her, that she is maybe out of scale with your other Final Fantasy figures. But if you don't care very much, when you showcase her, she cannot be noticed quite a lot, so it's okay if it's by then. Okay, now let's compare her with her other older figures. Okay, so here she is overall comparison with other lightning figures. The first one here is from lightning from Final Fantasy 13 2. This one is from the original game Final Fantasy 13, the Dissidia version, this version, Lightning Return version, and the Lightning Return Ultimate Collector Edition version. You can see that they all have the different height and scale. The 13.2 version is the shortest because she have a different, totally another scale than other play as Kai. These two may be on the same level. This one is a little bit taller. You can see that she have the same cloth and design. You compare these two because this one is very quite an old figure. She is one of the first play as Kai figure that have been produced. So you can see an overall upgrade both on her color paintings and on her on the molding and the other model stuff on her cloth and everything. She looks a lot better than the old version. A little bit more heavy on the wear too. You can see the different size of her arms, legs, and also at her face. Now, but when comparing the Lightning Return version with the Dissidia version, as I told you, this one is very highly sought after. Both these two versions are very collector piece for Final Fantasy and Play as Kai collectors. You can see why is that the face of the Lightning Return version has done a very great job both in the shading color and her hair with all the wash and everything. She looks very gorgeous. For the new figures, as I have told you, the overall figure looks a little bit more chubby, and also her color on the face is not as good as the older Lightning Return version. The highlight and the wash on her face is a little bit bland. I will take a closer view for you in a moment. And overall, her hair, although sculpted very nicely, the color is a little bit on only pink, no shading and other stuff like the other two versions of Lightning Return. So if you already got the Lightning Return version, good for you. She is still a very great figure that this one cannot compare yet to the older one. Okay, setting all of this aside, let's take a closer look on this version. Okay, first thing first, let's check out the accessories. She comes with her main weapon, the Blaze Fire Saber or sword. That it have two kind of transformable version. The first version is the saber. I'm happy that this time Square Enix doesn't give us only one sword that can transform into both things, because it is a little bit too difficult to transform this stuff and it can wear and tear in the future. So it's best that they give us two different versions instead. Another cool thing is that you can pull this part out, so you can grab it quite easier than other kind of weapons in the older Play as Kai figures. Okay. And also for her gun version, you can also pull the handle out this way, and they come with this part. This is also the handle version that you can put inside right here, so it can be folded back together and put on her back. Okay, and also she comes with 3 more interchangeable hands, the normal open hands and 2 grabbing hands, one for the gun version and another for the sabers or sword version. Okay, so a very compact and neat accessories for this figure. And now for the closer look on her main figure herself. Starting from the face, as I told you, she is a little bit too chubby for my taste. She is in the game, she is a very fierce warrior, and her combat style is very gracefully done, and I think she should be a little bit thinner than this. But still, even though she is not that good comparing to the Lightning Return version, on her face right here, you can see that they may be on another level comparing these two figures. Okay, but still they done a decent job. The color on her face is very neat, albeit she doesn't have any quite good shading as the other figure, and her hair sculpted very nicely, I have to give them that, but there's only the color pink. Okay, and on to her cloth, the color is done very quite okay, with on the shading on her shirt and on her pants and everything. There is a little bit QC issue, quality control issue in my figure. I don't know that other figure have it or not. You can see that she has a little bit of pink over here on her shirt that she shouldn't have. But other than that, she looks quite okay. On the back, alright. And also the skin color, a little bit on the pale side, but done very nice comparing to other older figures. And her boots and shoes are done very quite nicely. Okay, so overall a decent figure. If you doesn't have the Lightning Return version yet and you want another Lightning characters figures, this one is a very good substitute for her. Okay. Okay, now for the articulation. The normal head rotation, flexion, extension. She may be on a bit stiff side because her collar shirt here will limit her range of motion of the head. So although she can flex down a little bit, she can turn a little bit to the side, but not as too much. Her shoulder on this side can move freely of the range of motion, but this side is limited by her shoulder pad. Okay, and she also got the small joint of the female characters, and also a little bit awkward joints over the pale skin, but this side they color in very nicely with together with on the arms. Okay. Okay, next for the body joints, she can flex quite a lot and extend. And now for the hip joint, although this part is a rubber band part, this side of leg, her right leg, can move quite a lot in the degree of her hip, but this one is limited by both her pants here and also the rest stuff here. Okay. And for the knee joint, the same old double knee joint as other Play as Kai figures. Okay. And for the foot joint, okay. And also in the back, her cloak here have a little bit small ball joint over here that can move upward, but you can see that when you are posing her, it will continue to fall down to gravity. So I'm not quite sure on how it works well enough when you're posing. I think you can still pose a little bit sideways like this. Okay. And also on her back is for her blessed fire sword to put inside here. Okay, like this. And she's not using it. Alright. Now let's equip her with the blessed fire saber. Okay, so overall for this figure, I still kind of like it because she's like an upgrade version from her Final Fantasy 13, which is a nice addition to the collection of Final Fantasy figures. But overall on her side of things, other than that, when comparing to another older figure as Lightning Return, she may be a bit let down to some, but still a very decent figure. So if you doesn't have a Lightning for Play as Kai figure yet, this one will be a very nice treat for you also. And still for her sculpt and color and paintings, all done very on the standard for normal Play as Kai figures, but maybe a little bit strange in design decisions, such as on why she is a little bit short comparing to other older figures and other stuff. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. I'm going to continue to upload Play as Kai reviews of the newer one and also other action figure and Final Fantasy stuff. If you like this video, please give it a like. Any question you can ask me directly in the comments below or join me at my Facebook page in the description. If you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe to my channel for more Play as Kai review. Thank you very much. GlassArrow out.